This is my audience. 4 people. Hi everyone. I remember when I was little, I was given a choice between 40 nickels versus a $20 bill. Well, being young and not knowing any better, I assumed that 40 nickels was actually more money than a $20 bill. Well, of course, we all know that's not the case. But being young, and as most people know, that more is always better. At least that's what I was thinking. Anytime somebody asks me for some money, I can just give them a nickel 40 times versus giving one $20 bill. So it begs to wonder. People say what you don't know won't hurt you. But is that really true? I feel like when it comes to personal finance, every person in America, middle school, high school, and college, should be required to take a personal finance course. Learning to make the most of your money today is an education we cannot afford to pass up. Americans don't understand the benefits of investing, saving for now, because debt has become a normal way of life. And we all deal with money on a daily basis. I remember when I was about 22 years old, I was renting an apartment. I had a 1-bedroom. I initially started paying $280 a month. When I went to have my lease renewed, it went up to $285. I went again, and it went up to $290. At that point, I remember getting mad with the property manager and saying, "Why does my rent keep going up? I pay my bill on time. I don't cause any problems." And not understanding that was just the nature of business. And at that point she said to me, "Well, everybody rent goes up. You're actually paying less than everybody else in the apartment complex right now." So at that time I was actually in a personal finance course, but because I was working full time I really wasn't paying much attention. But I paid enough attention to know that, remember the instructor saying, it's not that hard to buy a house. So what I did was I called the bank and I asked just that question. What does it take for me to buy a house? So she gathered all my information. And she said, "Okay, you're pre-approved. You're pre-approved for $105,000. Well, being 22 years old, I thought $105,000, wait a minute, that's just way too much money. I can't afford that. So, of course, not thinking about a 30-year mortgage, I'm just thinking $105,000, I'll be in debt forever. Most people could care less about debt, which is what's going on in America right now. There are some benefits to renting versus buying. A lot of people I hear say, "Oh, I don't want to buy because I don't want to live in the area." But yet you pay rent, and you pay rent for 5 or 6 years. And if you're going to continue to pay rent, in my opinion, you might as well buy. But that's the stuff that a personal finance course will actually teach you. It will also teach you the true cost of credit. I remember my little child saying to me the other day, "Mommy, can we go buy some money?" You know, to some people that may sound funny, but actually that's what Americans do all the time. They buy money. The website Next Payday Online is actually just that. Cash America Web, Cash Advance. What they do is they actually sell you money. You pay $100. They give you $100, and you pay them back 25 to 30%. So you pay back $125 or $130 for borrowing $100 for 2 weeks, or in my opinion, buying $125 for $100. Also, insurance. Insurance is something else that we talk about in a personal finance course. Most people have no clue what type of insurance, if any, to get. We all hear, "Oh, you need to get life insurance, you need to get life insurance." What I did learn in my personal finance course is life insurance is for the living. It's not for the dead, it's for the living. So there is a difference between whole life insurance versus term life insurance. Most people say, "Oh, get a whole life policy, get a whole life policy." Well, in reality, unless you have somebody who's actually dependent upon you, there's no point in getting a whole life insurance policy. You're dead, you're not going to enjoy it. If you have dependents and small children like myself, get a term life. I have a term life for the next 30 years. For the next 30 years, I'm only paying $16 and some change for a $250,000 policy. That's something I would have never known to do before. After 30 years, hopefully my children are no longer dependent on me. And if they are, I'm sorry, too bad, you're grown, you're on your own at that point. it's better than just throwing money away on, quote, a whole life policy, which is really a savings account, as they say. And if you ever fall on hard times and you don't have disability insurance but still have a life insurance policy, guess what? You will probably end up losing that, quote, whole life and savings account and forfeit everything that you've worked hard for. So I learned in a personal finance course that it was better to get a disability policy just in case something happens and you were in an accident and you couldn't work. You're not dead, you're still alive, but you have no money. You can't work, you have nobody to take care of you, and you have no money, so who are you dependent on? The system at that point. If you had disability insurance, you can still take care of yourself. As far as a car, I also learned that a lot of people go out and buy new cars, and what we do is we pay $500 a month for a new car. This is what you do when you do car payments. You pay $500 a month. Let's say most people get a 5-year loan for a car payment. That's $30,000 over 60 months. Still, after 60 months, even though you've had the car for 5 years, if you purchased it new, it may be worth something after 5 years, and then again, it may not. But one thing for sure, after 5 years, if you bought a new car to begin with, you're ready to buy another car. You want something else. Versus if you decided to just hold on to your money, find a used car for about $500, because there's always somebody out there who'll be more than glad to sell their car that they just finished paying for $500 so they can go and put down a down payment on another car. So you take that $500 and you buy their used car, and you save $350 a month, and let's just say you're going to spend an extra $150 a month just for repairs or extras or just insurance, but you're still saving $350 a month. To save $350 a month over a 5-year period gives you $21,000 at the end of 5 years. So on this side, where you bought the new car and you're paying out $500 a month on a car payment, you have nothing saved. Over here, if you just saved $350 at the end of 5 years, you have $21,000 cash that you can actually take and actually buy you a new car, and you won't have monthly payments. And if you do that every year, just save the money instead of paying it to some company. Save your money. Every so many years you can purchase a new car. But it all starts at the beginning of your life. As soon as you finish high school, middle school, high school, you're learning. Once you get to college, you really should know better. Unfortunately, you don't. When you get to that point, most people, they go for whatever. I'm away from home, I have money, I have credit, and they'll say, oh, I'll just charge it. A lot of people charge stuff that they would normally pay for. They wouldn't normally pay cash for, should I say. Not knowing that even though you're charging a $200 purse, you're still going to pay $200 for it. I mean, or better, actually, you're going to pay more than $200 for it. Here's something to think about. For every dollar that you tuck away in a Roth IRA when you're 21 years old, it grows to nearly $30 by the time you're 65 years old. That's $30 for $1. If you wait 10 years until you're 31, it only grows to about $14. So is it really true that what you don't know can't hurt you? I beg to differ. I think what you don't know can cost you a lifetime of debt and pain. You hear the saying, the borrower is slave to the lender? Stop being someone else's slave. Go ahead on and actually start saving your money. If you start in middle school and high school, you're probably more likely to start at 21 years old saving the $1,000. That's just a one-time deal of $1,000 at 8%. By the time you're 65, that $1,000 is now $30,000. Same thing here. If you waited until you're 31, that $1,000 is only $14,000. So the sooner you know better, as they say, when you know better, you do better. When you know better at middle school, high school, college, the better shape you'll be later in life.